The trade war between the United States and China escalated dramatically on April 9, 2025, as the Trump administration announced a significant increase in tariffs on Chinese goods. The new tariffs, which will affect a wide range of products, are the latest salvo in a long-running dispute between the world's two largest economies. The decision to raise tariffs was met with immediate condemnation from China, which vowed to retaliate with its own measures. The move sent shockwaves through global markets as investors feared the escalating trade war could have a significant impact on the global economy. This latest escalation in the trade war comes as a surprise to many, as there had been some hope that the two sides were moving closer to a deal. However, the Trump administration has accused China of backtracking on previous commitments, leading to the decision to impose new tariffs. The tariffs are a key part of Trump's America First agenda, which aims to protect American jobs and businesses from what he sees as unfair competition from China. However, critics argue that the tariffs are counterproductive and will ultimately harm the U.S. economy by raising prices for consumers and businesses. China wasted no time in responding to the Trump administration's decision to raise tariffs on Chinese goods. Within hours of the announcement, Beijing announced retaliatory tariffs of its own on a range of U.S. products. The Chinese government condemned the U.S. move as protectionist and unilateral, and vowed to take all necessary measures to protect its interests. The swift and decisive response from Beijing underscores the high stakes involved in the trade war between the two economic superpowers. The tariffs imposed by China are likely to have a significant impact on American businesses that export to the country. The Chinese market is a major destination for U.S. goods, and the tariffs could make American products less competitive, potentially leading to job losses in the United States. The escalating trade war between the U.S. and China has raised concerns about the potential for a global economic slowdown. The International Monetary Fund, or IMF, has warned that the trade dispute is a threat to the global economy and has urged both sides to find a resolution. The Trump administration's decision to impose tariffs is not limited to China. The U.S. has also imposed tariffs on goods from other trading partners, including the European Union, Canada, and Mexico. These tariffs, which are often referred to as reciprocal tariffs, are intended to pressure these countries to lower their own tariffs on U.S. goods. The imposition of reciprocal tariffs has been met with criticism from both U.S. businesses and foreign governments. Critics argue that these tariffs are counterproductive and will ultimately harm the U.S. economy by raising prices for consumers and businesses. Despite the criticism, the Trump administration has defended its use of tariffs, arguing that they are a necessary tool to protect American jobs and businesses. The administration has also argued that the tariffs are already having a positive impact on the U.S. economy by bringing back manufacturing jobs. However, many economists dispute these claims, arguing that the tariffs are having a negative impact on the U.S. economy by raising prices and creating uncertainty for businesses. The escalating trade war between the U.S. and China has sent shockwaves through global financial markets. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, a key indicator of U.S. stock market performance, has experienced significant volatility in recent weeks as investors react to the latest developments in the trade dispute. The uncertainty surrounding the trade war has made it difficult for businesses to plan for the future, leading to a decline in business investment and consumer spending. This decline in economic activity has contributed to the slowdown in global economic growth. The trade war is also having an impact on currency markets. The value of the Chinese yuan has fallen sharply against the US dollar in recent months, as investors have become less confident about the outlook for the Chinese economy. The volatility in financial markets is a reflection of the high stakes involved in the trade war between the US and China. The dispute has the potential to disrupt global trade and investment, with far-reaching consequences for the global economy. Section 5, Senate Showdown, Tariff Debate Heats Up Capitol Hill. The Trump administration's use of tariffs as a trade weapon has been a source of considerable debate in Washington, D.C. While the administration has defended its actions as necessary to protect American interests, many lawmakers have expressed concerns about the potential economic fallout from a protracted trade war. The Senate Finance Committee held a hearing on April 8, 2025, to discuss the administration's tariff policies. The hearing, which featured testimony from U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer, provided a platform for lawmakers to air their grievances, and demand answers about the administration's trade strategy. Democrats on the committee were particularly critical of the administration's approach, arguing that the tariffs are harming American businesses and consumers. They also questioned the effectiveness of the tariffs in achieving the administration's stated goal of getting China to change its trade practices. Republicans on the committee were generally more supportive of the administration's actions, arguing that the tariffs are necessary to level the playing field with China. However, some Republicans expressed concerns about the impact of the tariffs on American farmers and businesses. Section 6. Musk versus Navarro, a war of words over trade. The debate over the Trump administration's trade policies has spilled over into the public sphere, with prominent figures engaging in heated exchanges over the wisdom of using tariffs as a bargaining chip. One such clash involved Tesla CEO Elon Musk and White House trade advisor Peter Navarro. Musk, whose electric car company relies on global supply chains and access to foreign markets, has been a vocal critic of the administration's tariffs. He has argued that the tariffs are counterproductive and will ultimately harm American businesses and consumers. Navarro, a staunch advocate for the administration's trade policies, has defended the use of tariffs as a necessary tool to protect American jobs and businesses. He has accused China of engaging in unfair trade practices that have cost the United States millions of jobs. The war of words between Musk and Navarro highlights the deep divisions that exist within the business community and the American public over the Trump administration's trade policies. Section 7. Manufacturing mirage: will tariffs bring back factory jobs? One of the central arguments made by the Trump administration in defense of its tariffs is that they will lead to a resurgence in American manufacturing and bring back factory jobs that have been lost to globalization. However, economists are divided on whether tariffs alone can achieve this goal. The administration points to anecdotal evidence of companies bringing manufacturing back to the United States or expanding existing operations as proof that its policies are working. However, critics argue that these cases are often driven by other factors, such as changes in corporate tax rates or automation, rather than tariffs. Moreover, some economists argue that the tariffs could actually harm American manufacturing in the long run. By raising the cost of imported inputs, the tariffs make American manufacturers less competitive, potentially leading to job losses. The debate over the impact of tariffs on American manufacturing is likely to continue as the Trump administration pursues its trade agenda. Whether the tariffs will ultimately lead to a revival of American manufacturing or simply exacerbate existing economic problems remains to be seen. Section 8. Global trade upheaval, alliances strained, uncertainty looms. The Trump administration's aggressive use of tariffs has upended the global trading system and strained relationships with key allies. The United States has imposed tariffs on goods from allies such as Canada, Mexico, and the European Union, prompting retaliatory measures and raising concerns about a potential trade war. The administration's America First approach to trade has been met with criticism from many world leaders, who argue that it undermines the rules-based international trading order that has underpinned global prosperity for decades. They have also expressed concerns about the potential for the trade disputes to escalate into a full-blown trade war, with devastating consequences for the global economy. The uncertainty surrounding the Trump administration's trade policies has made it difficult for businesses to plan for the future, leading to a decline in investment and economic activity. The escalating trade tensions have also contributed to volatility in global financial markets, creating further uncertainty for businesses and investors. Section 9. Conclusion: a trade war with no end in sight. The Trump administration's decision to escalate the trade war with China by imposing new tariffs marks a significant escalation in the dispute between the world's two largest economies. The move, which has been met with retaliatory tariffs from China, has sent shockwaves through global markets and raised concerns about a potential global economic slowdown. The administration's aggressive use of tariffs as a bargaining chip has upended the global trading system and strained relationships with key allies. The uncertainty surrounding the administration's trade policies has made it difficult for businesses to plan for the future, leading to a decline in investment and economic activity. While the Trump administration has defended its actions as necessary to protect American interests, critics argue that the tariffs are counterproductive and will ultimately harm the United States economy by raising prices for consumers and businesses. As the trade war drags on, the potential for a resolution seems increasingly distant. The two sides remain far apart on key issues, and the Trump administration has shown no willingness to back down from its demands. Please like, share, and subscribe for more updates on this ongoing trade war and other global economic issues.